In this video, I'll be checking out the new iOS 26. iOS 26 is Apple's new operating system that will be coming this fall. They've released the first version of their developer beta, of which I've put it on my iPhone here, and I'll be going over Apple CarPlay and all the new features that come with iOS 26 for the very first time. So you can see we're in iOS 26 here. You've got all the sort of glassy buttons here, and I'm not really a massive fan of it at the moment. Hopefully things improve. Yeah, it's hopefully early days. We're going to see some improvements over the coming months until it releases around about September, October time this year. So we're going to connect to CarPlay. One thing I've noticed in CarPlay in iOS 26 on the iPhone is there's a whole new section of features that we have to go to and show you. So the image has changed slightly. You can see we've got that blue button. This is pretty much the same, but if we connect to our car system, we've got CarPlay enabled, and now we've got an extra section called widgets. Icon screens is pretty much the same. It's you can order them that way, and I've gone over that in the past. But widgets is a new section. You should have new widgets coming in here if we're looking at their documentation. It's not available at the moment, so it's not actually available in this current beta. We're going to find that out once we connect. But you've got options to smart rotate for the widgets, widget suggestions, and also show wallpaper in the background of the widget panel. Up here is obviously in development. That's just to reset the widget list, but we haven't got any widgets in there currently to even edit. So let's get this connected. We're going to go into Bluetooth and connect to the Cupra. So blue little buttons here now. We're going to match the crest in our car system. Connect to CarPlay. We're going to be using CarPlay. And that's us into the new CarPlay experience, which is now rebooted. We're going to come back again. Now we're back again. Right, so now we're into iOS 26 and Apple CarPlay. You've got a new wallpaper here. It's a little bit more textured. And then you've got this kind of glossy, glassy icon, liquid glass they call it, interface that they've actually changed. We've got the dock on our right because we are on the right hand drive, and you can see the icons. We've got 2 pages, but we've got the dashboard screen that pretty much hasn't changed, and the Apple Maps is loaded in now as well. But this is the new section. We've got widgets. So widgets is obviously, as we've seen, accessible through the iPhone CarPlay Settings screen. We can hit continue, and now we've got some widgets. So let's just jump back in to the iPhone and see if those widgets have actually populated in that section. We're going to go to Cupra again, widgets, and now we've got the widgets. So you need to connect your CarPlay display first, and then this section will actually populate. So we've got 4 widgets here. We can't actually scroll them. We've got a stack as well. So we've got music currently, calendar, which we can see, and clock. We also got a second stack, weather. So yeah, so they're basically all stacked up, and we can choose which widgets we like to use in that stack. We've got stack 2, stack 3, photos, weather, and photos album. So if we delete that, what happens? And let's get rid of all the photographs. So now that defaults to the weather. So you can see here, so 1, 2, 3 is obviously 1, 2, and 3. We can't actually scroll that one. If we go to stack 2, which is this one, but here we should have home, weather, and reminders. That's that. So we'll take reminders off, and then we got the stack 1. Here we have calendar, clock, and music apparently. So you've got Apple Music there. So that's that section. I'm going to take calendar off, and let's go into the stack and add a widget. So here we have WhatsApp. We've got Leave Home. We've got the Parcel app that I've got installed. You've got Jetpack, which is WordPress. NordVPN, you can turn on and off in the car should you want that. Weather, we've obviously seen already. Batteries, calendar, clock, contacts, control center. Some of the ones that we've got in our apps, basically, you can actually have on your phone. You should be able to have on here too. Notes, parcel, photos, reminders, Safari, see what that does in a minute. And obviously weather, you've got other, and these are the ones that aren't being optimized for use in the car. We can try, say, maps. So there's just a maps widget basically. So we can go to that, and you've got a maps widget there, which isn't really interactable, but that's okay, I guess. But obviously over time, more developers will utilize this functionality, hopefully. But the most key thing I think for me would be weather and a clock, I guess, but you kind of got a clock on the right. But maybe music. The biggest thing that I think should have really happened is that widgets will enter the dashboard screen. I think that's a bit more intuitive, because then you can have one of these panels used as a widget panel, and then the maps. I don't know why they've done it in a separate section. Personally, not a fan. If we had weather in here, perfect. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So halfway house, I guess, for them. They might develop it a little bit more in the future. But the real big thing is CarPlay Ultra. You'll be able to possibly show these widgets on other displays as well. So that's probably why they're doing this. You'll be able to transition these to a different section of the car interior displays as well. So we're going a bit out of our way here. So let's show you the settings screen. Driving focus hasn't really changed. We'll just dive in there. No, that hasn't changed. Announce messages hasn't changed either. We've got appearance. So we've got automatic and dark. We can try dark mode in a second. And then we can customize the icons to default, dark mode, and clear, fancy, clear dark, and clear auto, depending on the light conditions that you've got in your car. So here's the customizations as far as we can get. There's no other should you actually use a tint, for example. In here, it's just default, dark, and clear. But clear is quite cool. Let's go back to the main screen, see how well that looks. So I think it's only going to really work. It does still have the distorting effect on the icons, which is quite cool. Obviously, the Cupra one hasn't been done yet, but the default ones are all in there. So that's quite cool. I think it really depends on the background. Obviously, they're not going to change. And we go back into settings. And then let's go back to wallpaper. So here's our wallpapers. Pretty much the same. We've only just got one new wallpaper here. They've done rid of all the rest of them, unfortunately. So just a black screen. Obviously, they're going to turn out grey. You can see the ones that haven't been done yet. And here, for example, again, if we set this, does that change the icons? Yeah, so it does not a good representation when it shows you the example. And you can see it's colorizing off the edge of that there. Bit of a round kind of like mask effect as you zoomed into maps there. This is terrible, and I'm surprised Apple haven't done that as a usability issue. That's just not readable at all. So it really depends on the conditions, I think. Let's go back to here, reset that. Right, it's not good. So we're going to come back to that. I don't think I'd ever use these glossy icons anyway. So we're going to stick to that. If you go back into maps, they're nice and clean and clear. So that's settings of the icons. We've just dipped into wallpapers. We've shown you that now. Display, smart zoom. So some cars have a resolution set, and some cars have adaptable resolution set as well. And CarPlay in iOS 2026 is now going to allow to tap into that and piggyback off those enhanced resolutions. So as you can see, things have got a little bit more sharper and a little bit smaller. This is now chunky, but if I do that, it's taking up the higher DPI, and in theory, we should get, more maps visible. Icons, I think, is the same. Got an extra icon here now as well, popped in. And if we go into, like, say, maps, for example, the interface is going to be a little bit smaller and just more in keeping with the resolution. So if your car accepts that option is definitely going to be really good to toggle. Album art while playing, that's standard. We've seen that before. Accessibility, we've got the color filters again, and the bold text and the voice controls. Sound recognition never really worked for me in the past, but that's still there. Apple Intelligence and Siri, they're all pretty much the standard as before. You can also see here, as we've seen, these lozenges are now sort of more pill-shaped rather than slightly shorter with a round circle in. Live activities, we can enable and disable that, so that's good. You can actually do that. And then you've got silent mode if you don't want to have any sort of notifications and things like that. You've got it enabled on your phone. So arrows will obviously allow you to toggle those as well. And that's pretty much it there. You can see it sort of glossing out there at the top. Quite nice effect. Calendar, not much different there. And we can go to podcasts. I'm not really a user of this, but you can see up here you've got this little widget bar that's not really been customized that well yet in this beta. That will improve, I'm sure. And let's just play one back. So we've got a highlighted back button now. Some of these features, play that and go to the home screen. That's playing in that little widget panel still. So that's cool. That's podcasts. Cooper obviously will take us back to the main menu. Phone, that's been laid out a little bit better. You've got recent contacts and so on. That's sort of out of alignment a bit, and you've got your voice messages. Music. Right, so approved privacy, we should be able to get into Apple Music now. Yeah, again, it's this kind of pill bar at the top there. Not sure if that's consistent with the previous version, but it looks pretty new to me. This is hugging right at the top of the display. And again, you've got this album list, songs, same, artists, the same kind of list layout as well. Messages is the same. You can toggle the start a new message. That's pretty much the same. Now playing takes you back. You got a bit of a usability issue there again in white on black, and you can see the liquid glass effect on the right hand side here as well. A little bit more rounder, a bit too round for my liking, but it is what it is. That still does the business of Siri, and yeah, that's that section. So we've gone through those apps. We can just tap back into maps, and that's obviously going to change the tile of the dashboard back to maps as well. We've still got the same kind of effect. It's all blurring out around here. We've got the navigation side. 3D as well is the same. And then you can tap and zoom in that way. You do apparently have multi-touch in iOS 26. Let's see if that's actually true. No, not yet. It's sort of not right at the moment. You can do that business, but you can't pinch and zoom. There's meant to be some gestures, and it's like tap to zoom and two fingers to come out, but that's not happening. So it mimics the iPad functionality. So it should really mimic this. So double tap to zoom in and two taps to zoom out. That's what should happen with multi-touch displays, but that's not working. Also, you should be able to do this eventually, tap to rotate, and you should obviously still pinch and zoom really. But even though our car system has multi-touch and obviously rotate as well, we can't do it currently in the beta for this as well. We can't rotate the map, we can't sort of pinch and zoom. So hopefully we might see that get adopted in the future, but unfortunately not in this beta currently. So nicely better presented, a bit cleaner in Apple Maps. And we've got the arrows and everything on the instrument cluster. That's all being passed through with the street name and everything. And yeah, all looks good so far. Let's just jump back in there a second. Let me tap this. Yeah, that's not changed. And if I do that and I go, yeah, so the app still shows you the turn directions on like a second screen experience. That's still the same. The Apple widget maps should be in here. There you go. So there's just showing you the destination. There's not much else there, unfortunately. So here we can try Spotify, which hasn't really had the same treatment, but it's still using the same kind of UI as default. So that's good to see. Obviously this will all change in the future because there's so many new kind of layouts that they're allowing developers with pinned content at the top. So for example, home screen, these could be pinned at the top and you sort of scroll through a list underneath, or like moods or something. So that's pretty cool that you might see some kind of functionality that way. If we sort of play some music, that's not changed at all. So that's basically Spotify. We can go into the widget section, see if Spotify has a widget. So Here's the widget here ready to go in. We're going to add it and we're going to float it to the top so it comes in first. That hasn't changed this, but you can see here, that's good. So you can just tap through on it, pause it and play. So you've got some interactivity with that tile. Not really a fan of some of those other widgets, but I'm sure we'll see something unique in the park. So for live activities, you need to make sure that in your Face ID and passcode section in settings that you've got live activities enabled. We'll turn it off and turn it back on again. And then you need a compatible live activities app. So we've got the Flighty app here and we've just put in that flight time. Here's the flight, it's landing in 1 hour 57. That's the flight. And then now it shows up in a live activities section. So that will now persist across. So if you're driving to pick someone up, you can have that constantly tracking them. And if you're into the map section, that should actually stay on here too, but it doesn't seem to. You can clear it as well. But if you tap on it, it won't show up in the widget panel unless you do have a Flighty widget. There is a Flighty widget. So you've got the next flight and that's all memories. Add this one and then you can then go to the flight here on the widget tile, but again you'll have to swipe backwards and forwards between the options. It's meant to display over the content as they've shown you in their keynote, but unfortunately that is not showing up. At least it's showing you there on the actual display, so you can at least test it out and see how it looks. Personally, I think this could be a bit smaller, this could be a bit bigger, this could probably be presented a little bit better. Obviously it's not doing it in Apple's way, where you got that bar of takeoff and landing. This shows it differently. I can't quite get that to work though. So tapping here, otherwise clear live activity, and that will then go, and it's also gone from the island at the top as well. So at least on certain compatible apps that would actually show properly. You have to launch up the compatible app for it to show up. Let's have a quick look at the dark mode then. We're going to switch to always dark, and that is the dark mode. Let's just play that again. So that's the dashboard. Obviously we've been seeing this already. You can slightly see the wallpaper poking through the back there. Obviously maps is going to just have dark elements to the pop-up, which probably is a bit more usable in a car environment, I would say. And obviously the icons as well on this wallpaper. Just pop into a few apps in this dark mode. Music, some nice better animations. So that's dark mode, not bad. Probably a little bit clearer in the dark and also in the day, some of the icons specifically. We've got the dark icons as well. We're going to dark mode 2, and then that's what the icons look like in dark mode. After I had a little bit of a play with a few of the customizations of icons as well as wallpapers to see which works and which doesn't. As you can see, the dark mode with the dark clear icons work pretty well if you're after that sort of dark theme. But then you switch to light mode and light icons, it just doesn't really work for me, especially in the car interior. And then went through a few of the widgets and seeing what was available from ChatGPT, world clocks, stocks, battery monitoring, as well as all the weather widgets that are currently available, as well as the Find My Friends widget. Other popovers seem to be the same as before, so no change there. So that's a quick overview of iOS 26 Developer Beta 1. Hope you've enjoyed this quick playthrough of the new CarPlay features in this new version. Hopefully when more significant updates come out between now and September, I'll do some of these again to show you what's new. But so far it's a good start. Those widgets are very welcome. If they are in a little bit of a out of place location in CarPlay, I personally would have found them a lot better if they were integrated into the dashboard. Obviously, if you've got a car that has compatibility for CarPlay Ultra, then those widgets could be in your instrument cluster, which is a little bit more acceptable. But for the majority of us CarPlay users that haven't got the ability for CarPlay Ultra, then it would have been nice to at least have that widget feature on the dashboard. For me personally, I do like that smart display zoom feature for my particular car system that enables the CarPlay to display a little bit higher DPI than standard, so it does show a little bit better on my CarPlay display specifically. And with the playing around with the customized icons, you can make it look quite decent if you like to have like a dark theme or a light theme. But those clear icons with a light background just doesn't really work. You can't even see the icons in the dock on most wallpapers that they allow you to use. And speaking of wallpapers, no custom wallpapers either. We're still limited to the ones that Apple give us and the light and dark mode versions of them. So generally, I think it's going to be a good, solid improvement over current CarPlay. Hopefully over the coming months, we'll see some additional improvements and a few more developers releasing some handy widgets as well for CarPlay too. So keep following the channel, and when I have some more to share, I'll bring them to you over the coming months. All right, I hope you found this video helpful. If it has, give us a big thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you have any questions that you'd like for me to try in iOS beta, and I'll try and answer them for you. If you like this content and you'd like to support my channel, you can do so by sending us a super thanks down in YouTube, or check out the link over here for Buy Me a Coffee, and you can support me there too. I really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.